I never thought a single comment could freeze an entire room. That evening, the hotel ballroom glittered with gold light, the air humming with laughter, ambition, and the soft chime of glass meeting glass. It was supposed to be her night, my wife's promotion gala, the one she'd worked 7 relentless years to reach. I was proud of her, genuinely proud, until she spoke. I stood just behind her, watching, as she charmed her colleagues, every one of them sleek, polished, and perfectly composed. She fit right in, smiling, glowing, holding her wine like royalty. Then someone asked who I was. She laughed. Oh, this is my ex. At first, I didn't even register it. The room chuckled. I smiled faintly, waiting for the joke's end. But it never came. Her coworkers exchanged amused looks and Emma, my wife, tapped my chest lightly, adding, "He knows I'm kidding." Kind of. The laughter dimmed into something awkward, sharp around the edges. That's when I realized she wasn't joking with them. She was joking about me. I became background noise, set dressing in her perfect scene. I excused myself for a refill, though my drink was barely half gone. The bartender's polite nod carried that quiet pity people reserve for the publicly humiliated. I stared into the glass, watching bubbles rise and vanish, like the moments that once defined our marriage. When Emma finally drifted over, she was radiant, cheeks pink from laughter and admiration. "You okay?" she asked her, voice light as silk. "Yeah," I said. "Just wondering when I got promoted to X," she smirked. "Lucas, it was a joke. Don't be so sensitive." That word, sensitive, landed harder than the insult itself. She'd used it for years, slicing me open with a whisper. Every time I tried to tell her how lonely she made me feel, or how unseen I'd become, she'd say it, "You're too sensitive." I used to believe her. Maybe I did care too much. But that night, bathed in golden light and false smiles, something broke free. I wasn't fragile. I was just finally awake. I watched her across the room, leaning in toward her senior partner, laughing at everything he said, her hand resting on his sleeve a second too long. Maybe it meant nothing, or maybe it meant everything. But for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt done. When the party ended, she wobbled in her heels as we walked to the car. "You're quiet," she said. "Just thinking," I replied. "About what?" "How you're my ex," she teased. "Something like that," I murmured. "Oh, don't be dramatic," she snapped. But there was no drama left in me, only calm, the kind that comes when you finally stop explaining yourself to someone who stopped listening. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay beside her, listening to her slow, steady breaths. That's when I understood. I hadn't been hated or ignored. I'd been erased. She had her glow, her success, her perfect world, and I was the shadow she'd outgrown. By dawn, I already knew. I rose quietly, careful not to wake her. The apartment was still, pale light cutting through the blinds in tired streaks. The coffee machine hummed to life, the drip sounding like time itself slipping away. I wasn't angry anymore, just empty. Something had ended long before that night, and I'd been pretending it was still alive. When Emma appeared, phone in hand, scrolling through party photos, she said, "You disappeared early." "Yeah," I said. "Didn't want to spoil your big night." She smiled faintly, distracted. "You didn't. Everyone loved you." I almost laughed. Sure, they adored the ex. She looked up finally, frowning. "You're still stuck on that?" "No," I said quietly. "Not stuck on anything anymore." Her eyes searched mine for the usual defense, but I gave her nothing. I finished my coffee, rinsed the mug, and left it on the counter, the same counter I'd built for her when we first moved in. She dreamed of marble, but we couldn't afford it then, so I'd spent my weekends sanding, sealing, trying to make something lasting. I guess not everything was built to last. For days, I moved through routine. Work, gym, silence. She noticed, of course, but didn't ask. Maybe she thought I was brooding. Maybe she just didn't care enough to. Then one Friday, she came home late, perfume sharp in the air, laughter still clinging to her voice. Long day? I asked. Drinks with the team, she said, shrugging out of her coat. Don't start. I wasn't going to, I said. I stopped starting a while ago. She frowned but let it drop. That was her way, avoid, deflect, pretend. She'd stopped asking questions the moment the answers stopped mattering. That weekend, I packed quietly. Not everything, just what I'd need. My clothes. A few photos that still felt real. The watch my father gave me when I turned 18. When she came home Sunday night, I was on the couch, bags by the door. What's happening? She asked, her tone suddenly sharp. I'm leaving, I said. She blinked, frozen. Leaving over a joke? I smiled faintly.
No, Emma.
Over a lifetime of them. The kind that sound harmless but hollow you out over time. I just finally heard the silence between them. She crossed her arms. So that's it? You're running away? I stayed long after you left, I said quietly. You just didn't notice. For a heartbeat, I saw it, something flickering in her eyes. Not sadness, not guilt, just surprise. Like she'd never imagined I'd actually go. That I'd keep showing up, keep smiling, keep pretending for her world of perfect dinners and polished people. But I wasn't a background extra anymore. I grabbed my bag and walked to the door. She followed. Lucas, this is ridiculous. You're overreacting. I paused, hand on the knob, and looked back one last time. Maybe, I said. But this time, I'm reacting for me. Then I left. For weeks, she texted, not to apologize, but to bargain. We can talk. You're being childish. You know I didn't mean it. I didn't respond. Silence said everything words couldn't. Funny thing about leaving, you expect it to shatter you. But sometimes, peace just feels like pain finally dissolving. I found a small apartment across town. Quiet. Modest. The kind of quiet that doesn't ache, it rests. Months later, I ran into one of her old coworkers at a cafe. He recognized me instantly. Hey man, he said, awkward grin tugging at his mouth. How've you been? Better, I told him. He nodded slowly. Yeah, we all felt bad about that night. That joke, it was rough. I smiled. It was a good reminder, I said. Of what? He asked. That people tell you exactly who they are when they think they're being funny. He didn't know how to answer, so he just nodded. I finished my coffee, left a tip, and walked into the sunlight, lighter than I'd been in years. Because in the end, it wasn't the joke that broke me. It was realizing I'd become someone she could joke about. And once I saw that clearly, leaving didn't hurt. It felt like freedom.